Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Don't Blame Me with me, Megan Rinks. And today we have a guest who, no offense to any other guest, but this has been, I think you've been the one who's been most requested.
I'll take it.
It's Lily Marston. Oh my God. I'm so excited.
I'm actually just excited because I haven't seen Megan
No,
over a month.
that's
so
kind
this
of
is
like-
just like our excuse to hang out.
100%. I'm like, you were just going to record and now we get to hang out too. And I just get to stare at your face, which is so nice. I love the new blonde.
It's like about to fall out.
That's okay. We'll do a hair mask later.
Details, yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lily.
Hi.
Hi.
And Jack's here this episode.
I am here. I was sorry I missed part of the last episode. I was buried in work.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I know, it sucks.
We made him sit like in purgatory. He had to sit over on the chairs.
Yeah, they made me sit in the corner.
Yeah. He had a timeout.
I was in timeout.
Baby in the corner.
But before we begin the podcast, maybe we should explain to people who may be listening for the first time what the podcast is.
Oh, yes, guys. This is my advice podcast where I give, excuse me, fuck you. I give wonderful advice.
Tell me all of your advice. Yeah.
I give.
Way to undermine the podcast in the intro.
I'm gonna fucking
Kidding.
Where I give fantastic advice because I do give fantastic advice. I was waiting for that comment. Okay. And you guys can call in by leaving voicemails. And if you call the number 310-694-0976, again, 310-694-0976, leave a voicemail. Tell us what's happening in your life and what you need some advice on. And if you're an international caller, first of all, I wish we had a P.O. box so you could send me international things. I don't know, like
that got weird.
and you guys could leave us emails. So just record a voice memo on your phone and email it to meganpodcast@gmail.com. And you get double points if you're British.
Just because you like the accent.
I do. We haven't had anyone British
What
yet.
about, I love a good Australian accent as well.
That's good too.
I
think
want
we've
a
had
good
Australian.
Kiwi, like a New Zealander.
Oh, I'll take that.
I'll take
Yeah.
that too.
That's
Also,
a great
probably because I
accent.
wouldn't know the difference between Australian.
No, yeah.
I could, like,
it
somewhat
all kind
pick.
of blends the same.
It does. No offense, guys. I mean, if I
No,
tried,
it's all great. They're
Not
unique
to
in their own way.
them. Not to them, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I bet I could. If you gave me two different people, like, here, okay, I could figure it out. But anyways, guys, Lily's here and we're going to give people advice. How do you feel about giving advice?
I think I'm super underqualified, but let's go.
Same though. Just
yeah.
pretend you're not. That's what I do.
I mean, I am such a good advice giver. I'm the first person everyone calls when they have problems.
I tell you all my problems.
Not for advice. You're more venting about your problems. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks. And then we
No,
move
but
on.
I like that. Oh, that's what I like. We can do that from here too. We'll validate your feelings, guys.
Lovely.
Or tell you you're wrong. Oh, God. Well, let's go into the first call.
I'm 19 years old. I just moved from Chicago, Illinois to Los Angeles in the Valley. My advice that I need is I used to be a big whore in high school and would sleep with the straight boys in school and like told everyone about it and like just like everyone knew that I was a whore and like I kind of kept that image up because I thought that's what people wanted from me and like even though genuinely like that's not who I am, but it somehow keeps following me around that I used to be this giant slut bag in high school. What's your advice on kind of like getting rid of that bad juju?
Can we hang out?
I was like, Megan, I feel like you could relate.
Did you just call Megan a slut? Did you just call Megan a slut bag?
That term, by the way.
I mean, I honestly was thinking in my head as we were playing this call, I'm like, fuck, I should have had Arden on this because Arden would have never called me a slut bag. And Lily's like, bitch, I know you too well.
You call yourself a slut bag.
Yeah. I mean, dude, yeah, like for sure. Relate. We're like cut of the same cloth. But what I would say is I feel like my high school reputation or even college reputation has somewhat left me a little bit, but the only reason is because I don't really talk to anyone from college now and I don't live around my high school friends. But if I go back to high school, if I went to a party with anyone that I was friends with in high school, literally people would just be like, Megan, you here to like rip your clothes off and do body shots to a fucking cake stand? And we're like 24 now. So I'm going to say there's a part of that that's not really ever going to kind of go away. But I think if you can learn to like laugh at it in a sense of that, and then if you not even like necessarily like own up to it, but you kind of like identify it as a part of your past. Like even now I say like, oh my God, I used to be so crazy. Like I used to be like insane, but that was something that I'm not like trying to hide. So it's not like people think you're like a secret slut bag.
Yeah, like you claim you've changed your ways, but you're actually still stripping on tables at parties where you don't know anyone.
Exactly. But I think like you can like, who cares? Like also like, fuck that. Like,
yeah, I think you do you. And then also if you're only 19, which that was, he said he's 19, then I would say that it's only been a year. Mm-hmm. So we still have some time to like shed the past image.
Yeah.
And I feel like just if you don't want to be a slut bag, just don't sleep around. And then if someone calls you out on it, be like, oh, that was in the past.
Yeah.
Or it was dark time.
Exactly.
Or a bright time, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. I mean, I would say bright time. And also would say at 19, I was still fully in that phase at 19. Like that was a much longer period for me. So I don't think you need to, I just think like if people are shitting on you for it, it's mostly because they're jealous because you're like getting all the dick.
Or they're just like projecting their own slutbagness on you, and actually they're the ones that are being slutty now, and they're just trying to take the attention and deflect.
And also, nobody like when you get to be an adult, nobody calls other adults sluts.
No one cares. Everyone's like, "Ooh, you got some last night."
Exactly.
Cool.
I don't know the last time that I've heard someone refer to somebody in like our same generation or age as a slut. I would say like probably 20. That's it. After you're out of college, you are not a slut. Like you're just like, she's fucking or he's fucking getting the dick. Like, get it.
You seen Sex in the City?
Yeah. Own up. Be proud of it. And then also just be safe. Wrap it up.
Oh, yes. And always get consent.
Yeah. Always do that.
Can we also talk about how he said he used to sleep with all the straight boys?
Who are not straight.
Wait. I had a friend like that in high school, and I'm not going to do any name dropping, but he would sleep with all the football players. And I recently hung out with him again, and he told me even more people that I had no idea. But like, it was kind of known, but it was still kind of secretive.
Well, yeah. I mean, sexuality is a spectrum. And also, I mean, let's be real. Who's calling you a slut? Because that's also, not to be sexist, being a slut is really girl terminology. That's a teenage girl's favorite thing to call other people. And so other people might also just be jealous because you're sleeping with guys that they want to be straight and that they're definitely not.
And what about all these people that you're sleeping with? Like, are they not slut bags as well?
Yeah. Why are you the slut bag?
Why are they targeting you? It sounds like they're all assholes.
Yeah. And you live in Los Angeles now, even though it's the Valley, but hang out with Lily and I. You just have to come here. We're not fucking driving to the
But I do
Valley.
like to go to the Valley. There's a lot of chain restaurants and parking lots.
I actually do. I love parking lots there. I was going to say that. There's Targets with big parking lots. Let's go to Target. Let's be friends. Let's go to Target. Just just some former slut bags slutting around in fucking Target. On to the next call.
So I recently started a new job, and as I was getting introduced to everyone, I met this girl. And I've never like had feelings or even really thought girls were attractive before. But I think she's attractive, like not in just like a, oh my God, I want to be that girl, she's really hot way. And I don't know what to do because I live in Kansas and it's not normal here for girls to like girls. And I really I know I want to get married to a man and have kids. And I know that my family, I don't think they would be okay with me thinking a girl is attractive. But I'm not ashamed of it. And I kind of just wanted to know your advice to see, should I try to talk to this girl, or is it just a feeling, it doesn't really matter, or what?
Fuck, this call makes me
So sad.
Yeah. This call makes me want to just take up people from all those small towns and just be like, let me educate you and your families
and
on
honestly,
this.
it kind of hits close to home because I just got home from a wedding of my best friend growing up. I've known her since I was 4. We're friends all the way through college, and she just got married to a girl. And I hadn't seen her family in years, and they literally helped raise me. So I'm catching up with her sister and her dad and stuff. And her family couldn't be more supportive, so she's so lucky in that regard. But I believe it was her dad that I was talking to, and we were talking about how they met, and she dated guys all through high school and had a really serious boyfriend. And the dad was like, no, she's very adamant that she's not a lesbian, that she fell in love with a girl and she just loves her as a person and they're happy together and it's great. So I think it's something that I wouldn't say totally ignore it. If that's something that's if you're excited about it and you actually like someone, I think you should explore that feeling.
Yeah. Because I was going to say there's also something, there's definitely, I just meant in the sense of if you're coming to terms with finding a girl attractive and you're super young, she might not be at that place yet. So it's I have friends who are gay who are literally say even as adult, it's so hard to be I don't know if I don't know how to hit on you because
gaydar is
I
not
don't
quite a real thing.
Yeah. Or even if in the sense of are you open to dating people of the same gender?
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's oh, I have a feeling that I think you're cute, and then go professing your love for them.
Yeah.
Maybe feel it out a little, take it a little
and
slower.
see if they're
but
yeah. But I also think there's something it's again, sexuality is a total spectrum. And exactly like Lily's saying, I personally believe that you fall in love with people.
Mm-hmm.
I identify as straight because I've never found a girl who I've had those feelings for, but that doesn't mean that girl doesn't exist. And that doesn't mean that that's also Mott's greatest fantasy. He's you and a girl? Hell yeah. Of course. That's 100%.
How rare.
I know, exactly. But I just
what a unique guy.
God, super unique in his tastes. So I would just say that I wouldn't put yourself in a box. And also, you can, not that I'm not even saying you can totally be bi or not identify with anything in general, but also you can get married to a girl. You don't have to have a husband to be married, and you can
to have
kids.
Honestly, at my friend's wedding, the wife already had a kid.
Oh.
And the son walked the wife down the aisle and then gave a necklace to my friend and asked if she would be his mom forever.
Oh my God, I would cry.
I was sobbing the whole time.
That's so sweet.
No, it's so sweet. So absolutely, there's totally ways. And and the wife is a lesbian that had a partner before, and they had done it where they donated eggs and then had a donor sperm. So there's absolutely no reason you wouldn't be able to have kids. And as we're in this time in the world that it's much more acceptable, obviously maybe in Kansas not as much, but I don't think it's something that if you're worried that you won't have kids that shouldn't be a factor.
No, there's no real sense in the whole scope of maybe not the world, but at least in the US, if you come there's no traditional sense of marriage really anymore, and relationships of what you identify as.
But let's get to the actual serious part of it, which makes me so sad, and I want to give you a hug. That's gonna be hard regardless. And
I don't think you have to, but you're not coming. That's my thing. I'm I think right now what you're going through, you're wondering if this is something that you need to you should explore or ignore it. I think you should explore it, but I also don't think you need to identify yourself as anything or come out to anybody until you're confident and sure of how you feel and where your stance is on everything. Because I think there needs to be an exploration process before you even start giving yourself a title that you're not necessarily sure if that's what it means to you. And you also don't have nobody else, you don't owe it to anybody else. That's like the biggest thing we get when people call in talking about like sexuality and feeling obligated to come out to their friends and family. This is your thing. It's your thing, whether you're straight or not, or whether you don't want to identify as a gender or anything like that. You don't owe it to anybody else to come out. It's not withholding anything from them. Like, this is your own personal thing. So I wouldn't, that period of exploration is already going to be enough for you to handle without worrying about like how you explain it to other people when you don't know how to explain it to yourself. That's what I would say.
And honestly, the fact they're even, excuse me, already acknowledging it and calling it and trying to talk to people about it shows that you are already exploring it and not just repressing feelings that then you're going to regret later. So
yeah,
we're proud of you.
Yeah, 100%.
I would also say that just because you find somebody attractive doesn't mean you have to act on it in any way. I mean, there's probably guys she's found attractive. From what it sounds like, she's always been attracted to guys. Now suddenly she's attracted to a girl and she doesn't know what to do. You don't necessarily need to do anything.
Oh, absolutely not. But then also, if you just ignore it, then what if another girl comes up?
Yeah,
later
I don't
that-
think it should be ignored, but I think it sounds to me like
Acknowledge.
she needs to do some like self-searching before she does anything.
Yeah, I think treating it like flirting with anyone you find cute. I think that just treat it like that, because I think that's just going about it the same way you would any other guy that you've had a crush on or something.
Also, not to mention, this is a job. So like, oh, be careful.
Is it at work? Oh, yeah, at work.
Yeah, it was a work situation.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you can't, sometimes you can shit where you eat, but I don't know. It's a little risky.
Yeah, you can. I mean, like, I think if you flirt and put the feelers out, you also, I mean, we all know when you flirt with somebody and you can tell if they're into it or not. I think if you can go with that and then, yeah. But I mean, the work thing, you're right. That does offer, forgot about that. That does offer a little bit of
I think the issue she's having is she's like, does this mean that
like
I'm
represent
gay?
all women?
Yeah. Does this mean that I'm gay now? And does it mean, you know, and how is that going to complicate my life and my goals? And what I'm saying is it doesn't necessarily mean any of those
No,
things.
it doesn't mean, it could mean you're gay. It could mean you're not gay. It could also
mean that you're just,
I
as
mean,
you said, sexuality is a spectrum. Maybe that's one girl that you thought was attractive and you're never going to run into another girl that you think is attractive again.
and you're going to fall in love
fine.
with a guy and get
100%.
married and all that stuff. But I think you just have to be open to that. And I also would say I had a friend who, she's not listening. I had a friend who on coming out day in high school came out as being bi because she found this one girl that we went to school with. This girl's fucking gorgeous, like beautiful.
Like everyone thinks
she's literally absolutely beautiful. And our friend was like, she liked her. She really, really liked her. Now at 24, that is the only girl my friend has ever liked like that. And she's only been with men ever since. And even now she's like, I don't know. I was young. I identified as bi. Now it's like, it's not like, I mean, that's also the thing that people think, like, even like when you like talk about like bi people, like anyone who's identifying as bi, it's like, oh wow, you like all girls and guys. I'm like, me as an identified straight person, I don't like all guys. Like, what?
I literally
like it is so I can't even. I only like one gender, and it's still fucking impossibly hard for me to find one that I actually like. And so I think also like you don't have to say like, oh well, shit. Now I like all girls and guys, and now I'm obligated to find all women. I'm sexually attracted to all women now. That's definitely. I don't think you have to put any labels like that on it. But I think if you're curious about it, throw on some gay porn. See if you're like, do I like this? Am I into this? Though I have heard that women get turned on by lesbian porn.
I've heard that as well. It's because we watched that documentary, Hot Girls Wanted on HBO. It was very interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, just know that like you obviously know because you're calling into this podcast, but like the world is not Kansas. Yeah. So as much as it sounds like this is something that's not acceptable where you are, I wouldn't let that kind of I don't know, like halt your potential journey and kind of exploring it, because there's definitely people who are exploring their sexuality everywhere, and you know, definitely.
Not that you should go to your parents tomorrow and have this talk, but also I've seen a lot of incidents in the past where parents really did surprise their kids, where the kids thought that they were going to like disown them, and then they ended up being 100% supportive.
Yeah. Oh, on to the next call. I got distracted because I was being funny.
I'm 20 years old, and one of my best guy friends actually just got out of like a year relationship with this girl, and the reason he broke up with her is because he found out that she was like extremely manipulative and just like a terrible person. So basically he broke up with her in like the nicest way possible. He did everything he could, but she still won't leave him alone, and she's persistently calling him, was Facebook messaging him, and he ended up blocking her on everything, like phone, every social media, like you name it. And she managed to find like 5 different other phones and is still calling him. And she's also threatening, like, to do something. She says she might do something stupid if he doesn't answer her. And by that, she means, like hurt herself. And it's just, like, it's like she's, like, threatening him, like, saying, like, if you don't answer me, then I'm going to do something stupid. And if she does, he's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life. And it's not his fault. Like, he explained everything to her, and he just wants her to move on and just so they can both be at peace. But she's continuing to bother him, and we just don't know what to do. I've tried to help him as best as I could, but I don't want her to hurt herself. I just want her to just stop bothering him and to leave him alone.
Oh my God.
Do you want to hear something crazy? I've been in that exact position.
And I have a friend that has too. Exact same thing.
I've been the friend of the guy in that literally.
I thought you were going to say something else. I was
So
like,
did
no.
I.
What? I was the girl. Guys! My God!
We love you.
I'm not that crazy.
I need a new cell phone number, Lily.
Guys. No,
This better not be blocked.
I used to be, I was friends with a couple, a guy and a girl. And I had originally had been closer friends with the girl, and I had the discovery of her being like a very toxic friend, of being just like really manipulative, but in like our friendship. And so her and I severed ties as friends, and not behind her back, but her boyfriend and I always were, I became friends with them at the same time, really. Like, even though I was better friends with her because we were both just girls at that time. Like, I mean, I'm still a girl, but like, we just were better friends. But so I maintained the friendship with the guy through, but he was pretty respectful of the fact that she really, really hated me when we stopped being friends, and was like very manipulative and super like just raging bitch to me after. And then when they broke up, him and I had always remained in contact and stayed friends. And the exact same thing happened with, she literally, oh God, this is so bad. There was literally one day where she put her car on neutral and was like, I will lay in front of my car if you do not get back together with me. And it was like, there was all this stuff that went on forever and forever. And it's hard because it's so hard as a friend too, because you're trying to be there for your friend, even though you can't be held accountable for all of his actions. Like, there is something, like, you're not actually in the situation, so you can't really tell someone what to do because they're acting out of prior love that they have for this person, not wanting this person to hurt themselves. And what we honestly ended up doing, I don't know how old you are, but I also think it doesn't really matter. We told her parents.
That's okay.
And
so
that's what we
I was just
had to
gonna
do.
say.
And I will be honest, it did not go well. Her parents didn't believe us, didn't buy any of it. We showed everything. We literally had a group of people who came over who were in this different parts of this person's life. And because none of us were actively in this girl's life, her parents just were listening to the girl saying that we had all been these terrible people. And it took a long time, but she was able to finally, like, even if like her parents or whoever is there with her and has that kind of, I don't want to say like power or control, but who can see
Or
that
influence.
Yeah.
in
Even
their
if they
life, too.
don't see it automatically, if you plant that seed in their head, they're more susceptible to seeing the signs as it goes on. And that was like the only thing we could figure out what to do. And it's super, super sucked. But that's the only way that I would say that I think you tackle that.
Same situation. I have a friend that he was the guy in the situation, and he had a girl that was literally threatening to kill herself if he broke up with her. And he's like, oh my God, then I can't break up with her. What am I going to do? So he just kept hanging out with her because he's just a really sweet guy, and he like didn't want to have her hurt herself. Eventually she started, even when they'd hang out, like a friend would text him, and like while they were still like, he's like reluctantly hanging out with her, a friend would text and and it would be a girl.
Yeah, it'll never be
freak
enough.
out. So she was always, base problem here is the girl has some issues, like has a lot of mental problems that she needs to maybe go to therapy for.
100%.
But he ended up he called the sister, and he was like, I think you need to come to your sister. She's like going off the deep end. Something's wrong. And the sister already did know. So at least it wasn't like that situation. But like, honestly, at that point, I was going to say like a restraining order after the phone calls and stuff. But like, I don't even know, aside from a family member. And if you're 20, you're probably in college. So I don't know if you are in contact with their family or maybe stalk them on Facebook and send them a message or something. Like,
that's what I would, someone who's who
has some influence in their life that they would like actually listen to, that they aren't going to pull the same manipulative shit on them.
Yeah. And, or even just someone who you need to relinquish this kind of weight to somebody who can do more about it than you guys can. Do you know what I mean? Like whether it's like if you're in college and you've got like a guidance counselor at school who literally has to take legal action if someone's threatening to hurt themselves, giving that responsibility of this whole situation to somebody like that, I think is important. So whether that's like a family member or something like that, and if someone's really threatening to like hurt themselves, there are hotlines you can call that you can get that sort of, have people talk. But it's also like, I would say too, there's, as much as like we're calling her like a crazy bitch or whatever, like mental instability and stuff is like mental health problems in general are so common. And it's also in your mid-20s when a lot of that stuff comes to light. And it's a journey and a process of people figuring out what's up with them. And that doesn't mean that people are necessarily terrible people. It's just
like confused and lost in their own journey
completely
at the moment, and then really feel like they need someone else to be there with them. And if she thinks he's the one, like she's created
trying to
this
latch onto
delusional
that
thing in her mind. But
That is all true. However, based on the call, when she was like, she turned out to be this very manipulative person.
Yeah.
And then once that was sort of exposed.
you don't think she'll actually
Listen,
do
this is the thing. This is an extremely common thing.
It is.
It's very common. I think everyone, ask around.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a,
I mean, the fact that we
both
both
of
just
us.
immediately
I know,
had examples.
I have two examples from
Mhm.
my life. It's just, it's so common. It's such a common thing. And it's one of the most manipulative things to do to somebody. If you don't give me what I want, I'm going to hurt myself. And then that's on you. Well, guess what? It's not on you.
Yeah, it's still on them.
My
13 reasons why.
Honestly, my recommendation would be he should break off all contact with her completely. And that needs to be the end of it. And then that needs to be communicated to her through a third party that says, he's never going to talk to you ever again for the rest of your life. It's just done. It's never happening again. And if you threaten to do something again, we're going to 5150 you, which is the code they use with
For the medical hold.
Yeah. And that's when the police actually show up and they take you to be examined because you've given, they believe there's a credible threat of suicide.
Yeah.
Not to make light of the situation.
No.
That's what Amanda Bynes had done.
Oh, damn.
No one wants that. No one wants to be put into a hospital
Do you
overnight
think
for
threatening that though?
It's not about threatening. It's about saying if you're going to tell us that,
This
we
is the
have to
consequence.
take that
Yeah.
threat seriously, and we're going to call the authorities because I'm not going to let that be put on him.
Mhm.
And
That's true.
that's what we're going to do. So it's in your best interest to just stop communicating because he's never going to talk to you again, and he won't even be the one to make the call. It'll be me.
Yeah.
And I think that's really.
But do you think the friend should have to put that on her? Or do you think
Not necessarily her, but
I mean,
someone
if she wants to help, and it sounds like she does because
Yeah.
that's why she's calling.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing they can do. Versus that, it's really just you got to ignore it. I mean, the thing is, chances are she's not going to do anything, especially because of what you've described as her being a very manipulative person. So your best bet is to sort of just cut all ties, and eventually she will move on when she realizes there's just nothing I can do.
Maybe eventually she'll run out of phones to borrow. Because,
Yeah.
like that's
I
crazy.
know.
5 different numbers. Hopefully, she
But
has a lot of
eventually,
siblings.
but and look, I can understand that she's heartbroken and she doesn't know what else to do, and she's acting out of desperation because she's heartbroken. I can kind of understand that. I mean, she's acting crazy.
Yeah, but my thing is just like for me, the thing is if this was a 27-year-old, my advice would be totally different. But just at 20, that's something like that schizophrenia, bipolar, all that stuff. Like that's when that kicks in.
true.
Like I didn't have anxiety, like terrible anxiety until I was like 20, 21. And that's something where like I think, and the girl that I'm talking about has been diagnosed as like manic bipolar.
Sure.
And so I think the thing is like, I feel like as I would totally do that, but I would also tell some authority. If you're at school, tell somebody at school, just because my only fear is that I'm like, because if you feel exiled by your boyfriend and this other girl comes in and suddenly these are the only people, maybe no one else in her life is like really noticing it and she doesn't have a ton of other people or whatever. And then that's just like closing in on you. You feel so incredibly alone. And it's like, well, I can't call him because if I call him, he's going to threaten to call the police on me. So like, I'm just, not that I'm saying she would do something like rash there, but that for me,
but
that's
on one
my
side,
fear.
It could
You're
be that
giving
she
them-
is manipulative and she is never going going to do it. But on the other hand, what if she is super unstable, like
Yeah.
Megan says, and then she will do it, and then
Because you're putting them into like a just a corner, and I think that's
But either way, you're covered. I mean,
either way, it's not your fault.
It's never your fault.
Yeah.
I just mean like just as like a 20-year-old, that for me, the thing that I would automatically do is relinquish that sort of feeling of responsibility onto somebody who can do more than I can.
Which is why I was saying that, because if she is being serious, then a 5150 is what she needs.
Yeah.
But what if you tell her that you'll do that, and then she's like, then I'm just going to kill myself?
I think that's extremely unlikely.
Yeah. I'm just thinking the worst case
Especially if she
scenario.
is doing it to be dramatic and just scare them into
Yeah. And again, like you could say, and then that can be what is communicated. So
Yeah.
I need to know, are you being serious? Because if so, I need to call the authorities right now.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're not responsible for somebody else's actions if they decide they want to hurt themselves,
No.
regardless of their threats.
No.
But as she said, it's like that. It's even that it's
Even
not your fault.
legally,
That's
that's
still
a
going to live
weight
with
on
you
you.
for.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I would get other people involved.
That's what I would say too.
Authority figures, for
yeah.
sure.
I think that's exactly it. And also, it's not like Jack is saying. He needs to cut all ties with her, and I think that needs to be communicated that it's not going to happen, because if something is going on, whether she's doing it for attention or she's doing it because like there's something else going on, by caving in to these demands that she has, it's not helping her. Even if she makes it seem like it's helping,
it more.
it is. And it's not either. She needs to get help, and it's making it better for a little bit so no one else is noticing, so she's not getting further help. Or if she's just being crazy, it's just making her be like, oh, this is what I can do and this works, so I'm just going to keep doing this. So I would have him cut ties, get an authority involved, and have them just do the thing, being like, if we need to talk about if this is like a real serious thing.
And also, if you get the authorities involved too, you can also mention, like, not for nothing too, but she's harassing me.
Yeah.
She's calling me from 5 different phones. And like, that can be part of the action that they take, is like basically being like,
You get a restraining order.
You not necessarily even taking it that far, but having the police show up at your house and being like, are you trying to hurt yourself? And will you stop harassing this person? Will often nip things in the bud.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a break. On that really light, uplifting note, guys, we're going to take a break. This episode of Don't Blame Me is brought to you by me reading nice things about myself that you guys have left on the Apple Podcast app. Yes, you heard me right. I'm going to go through and read some wonderful reviews that you guys have left for the podcast, which is just honestly incentive for you guys to leave other nice 5-star reviews, because it makes me feel good about myself, and it also helps people discover our podcast, which, I mean, you could also share it with friends, which I would also love, but leaving reviews makes us feel good and helps the podcast out. So if you want to help the podcast out, help us out. So I'm going to read you a review. This was published on October 19th by Chloe232677. Also, what is the significance of all of those numbers in your life? And she has said, I've been listening to this podcast since Megan started it, and I'm enjoying it more and more as I go. Megan has such a wonderful podcast voice when I speak English correctly. I added that part in. And her attitude is both insightful and bubbly. I also love how her producer, Jack Ferry, adds his own advice and insight if he feels he needs to. This podcast is both very entertaining and helpful for anyone in any type of relationship, friendship, or more. I cannot say enough good things about this podcast, so just go listen to it already. Thank you so much, Chloe. That is so nice. Jack will be happy to hear it. He loves when people tell him that they like him talking. It makes him feel good. Thank you so much. And let's find another good one. Oh, She's My Favorite by Reckless Yagami. I've been a fan of Megan for many years, but her on her podcast is my favorite thing ever. Also, I love Jack. Bring Grace Helbig. That'd be fun. Grace, come on. Ooh, someone has ADHD too. Ugh, my life. I love it. So professional. You're a natural. Also, professional is not the word I would use to describe this podcast. So thank you. It's also never a word I've gotten about myself. That's like, you get like first impressions. Like, you're like, oh, I get that a lot. Like looking like a celebrity. Professional's not one I get. Neither is warm. I get cold is the first impression a lot. This is by NatCat21. Great podcast. I honestly can't believe you only started recording earlier this year. You and Jack have such a great on-air relationship, and the quality is outstanding. Keep up the good work. I'll be listening from my car. Oh, wow. Thank you. Everybody here thanks you for applauding the quality of this, and I love the quality of this as well. I hate podcasts with shitty audio. This is the last one I'm going to read, and the title of this review is Difficult to Listen While Eating. It's not listened to. Just difficult to listen while eating by Cranberry Potatoes. Megan Rinks, I'm going to overlook that you spelled my last name wrong. It's totally okay. Has some bizarre listeners whose lives may or may not be the plots of early 2000s teens dramas, but she gives hilarious advice to all of them. Is the advice always sound? Probably not, but you can't blame her when the problems she's given are so out there. No, you can't. I enjoy this in the car, hanging out alone with my coworkers and while I'm putting on makeup. Disclaimer, while this is hilarious in most circumstances and motivates me to be nosy about my friends' lives, it is difficult to listen to while eating. I love that review. I really would love to get some like videos of people listening to the podcast and like spit takes of they like spit out their food or their water as they're laughing when they listen to it. That would make me feel good inside too. So if you guys want to leave us a review, go to the Apple Podcast app and you can leave it there. Please rate 5 stars. I feel needy and desperate asking for it, but I mean, I'm a YouTuber. I ask you to like and subscribe and click that notification bell. This is way easier for you guys to do. Way, 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 way easier. So, yeah, that's all the self-promo I'm going to be doing. So let's just get back to me talking about myself. Or turning your advice questions into me just talking about myself. Okay, guys, we are back from our break and on to another call.
Hi, Megan. My name is Emily. I'm 18 years old. So I was just wondering about your opinion of weed and, pot, the devil's lettuce, whatever. My best friend is pretty much, she's definitely a stoner, like a full-time stoner. And we used to hang out all the time and, just sleep over at each other's houses and stuff. Normally like kids, and it was really great. And now, literally every time I see her or we get to hang out, it's just getting high, and it's great. I don't hate it, but I kind of miss our old friendship. And I don't really know if it's bad, but I don't have a strong enough opinion about it to say something. So I just don't really know what to do.
So I had a similar situation happen in the beginning of college.
I think this happens to literally everybody when they discover weed.
And that's what I was just going to say.
The
I don't know
friend who
when she
discovers it
started
first.
smoking, but
Yeah.
I think one thing that does happen is when you first discover it, it's wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then they do want to do it all the time. And I had a similar situation that one of my best friends started smoking more. And I was like, oh, but we used to just watch
Yeah.
movies. But now before we watch movies, she wanted to get high. And I was like, I mean, okay, it's fine. But then she didn't talk that much. And it just felt a little different.
Yeah.
And I remember I got kind of upset about it for a little while. And then she
grew
away,
out of it.
and then she didn't smoke every day. So I think
that's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, it sounds like a phase. And I think this is kind of everybody has had that friend in whether it's high school or middle school or anything like that. I mean, hopefully not middle school, but or
no,
college.
Don't do drugs, kid.
Yeah, no, but I think that's kind of a thing. And I mean, I remember I definitely went through phases of my having friends or guys that I dated who were just all we did. It wasn't just the word I would use is not functioning stoner. And you're okay, this is sure, we can have fun and get high at a party or whatever. But this is just now the person that I like and the stuff we like to do is now being compromised by this. And so I think if it's a matter of, not that I'm saying hanging out with her less, but I think yeah, you could confront it and then, or also I would also not be passive aggressive about it, but I'm why don't you just invite her to go out of the house? Why don't we go do something like this? Because I think also it's such an idle, especially when you first start smoking, whatever, it's such an idle, it's actually an activity. You're oh, let's come over, let's just get high. But it's plan something, go out of the house, go do something. It might be coming from the fact that she's just bored. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's that. And maybe if you suggest doing some of the stuff you used to do before.
And I know, and if it does begin to really bother you and you really do feel it's affecting your friendship, I know a lot of people don't think that when they're high, that it really affects them that much. So she might not realize that things have changed. And for her, it's totally the same. So if you maybe bring it up, she could be more conscious of when she's doing it. Or if you really don't feel comfortable with her doing it, or plan, if that's what you want to do one day, but then otherwise,
don't hang out 5 days a week. myself personally, I don't like feeling like out of control, any sort of mind altering substance. I don't like that because I like feeling in control. And I get uncomfortable when other people aren't in control of themselves and I feel like they're loose cannons kind of a thing. But then also at the same time, that doesn't mean like I'm never going to go to a party or I'm never going to hang out with someone like that. So I think like you just need to feel out how you're feeling about something. Exactly like Lily's saying, like don't hang out. Like if there's one night where like you want to get high and like watch Despicable Me, fucking do it. But then if there's like another night when you don't want to do something like that, I think you can look to other friends to fulfill that or invite her to do something that she wouldn't be high for. But then also if you do feel like it's getting in the way of like other parts of her life, like whether
well, and that could also mean that there's a reason why she's doing it so much. If she is depressed or she is feeling really anxious.
Yeah. Talk to her, but maybe open that like dialogue of being like, hey, I just feel like you've been like smoking a ton recently and I just
want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah. I don't know if like, I don't know if like you've been like feeling a certain way or something like that. Like, I just want to make sure that like we can have like a friendship where you can be honest with me if you're feeling like anxious or anything like that, because I mean, medical marijuana is a thing, but there's also a ton of like self-medicating that people do with lots of sort of substances in general. And then just talking to her about that. But honestly, I literally think it's our first thing that we said, where it's just a phase.
Yeah.
Like that's
when especially 18, it's not like that's when, like, we obviously don't know how long when she started and stuff, but yeah.
That's the definition of like, I always joke about, I had a stoner phase. Like,
well, and that's when you're 18, it's like, ooh, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, weed. But then like literally as you get older, it's like a lot of people do smoke and it's not a huge deal. And you've learned there is also a huge stigma and it's not like cool to be like
bragging about it. It's no longer cool to just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna like smoke a ton.
Fun little side story. I was at a bar one time recently and me and my friend are like on the patio and there's this group of kids next to us. They're probably like 21. They were old enough to be drinking. And one of them is whipping out his container of weed. No, full container of weed.
Oh, wow.
And pipe underneath the table at this bar. And me and my friend are like eating like our cheese fries and beers and we're like looking over and he's like, yeah, look how dank this kush is. And me and my friend look at each other like, oh wow, they just moved to California.
Yeah.
And then literally we hear 2 minutes later that they're like, yeah, well, like I went home the other day to the valley and I'm like, oh, you're from California. But they were young kids and they definitely were like trying to talk it up because they think it's really cool.
Yeah.
So I think when someone first discovers it, it is much more of like ooh, I'm doing something kind of wrong.
Yeah.
But
I feel like cool about it. Yeah. That I would say that phase kind of dies down.
I would hope so.
Yeah. I think everyone has that or had that friend or I went through a stoner phase. I'll admit it.
And people grow apart for different reasons too.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Not to say that you should just exactly. It's like maybe her interests are changing.
Yeah. Maybe you're growing up to be different people.
Mm-hmm.
A high person and not a high person.
And you can always stay friends with someone that you don't always have to be like best friends.
I always say there's
you can have different relationships,
friendships that serve different purposes in your life.
100%.
Like friends that you have some common interest with that you wouldn't, not your target friend, but like your friend you're like, oh, we love doing this together kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
She can be your fun friend. Okay. You'll be fine. On to the next call.
Hi, Megan. I am 22 years old and I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 6 years. Love him to death. He's been incredibly supportive of me through all my anxiety, depression, and, demons in the closet kind of things. But recently, with the whole Me Too thing going on Twitter and Facebook for victims of sexual harassment and assault, which is incredible, we were talking about it, and he told me that him too, which was shocking to me. And, being together for 6 years, I thought that I already knew almost everything about him. And I said, you too? And he said, yes, I've never told anybody. So I guess my question with all of this is, how do I get him to tell me? Not that he won't ever tell me, but it's literally eating me up inside. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible and give him space and allow him to talk to me about it when he wants to talk to me about it. Obviously, he never has. If we've been together for 6 years, I've known each other for 8, and this has never come up. So any advice on delicately addressing the situation?
Okay.
First off, he's absolutely not alone, as I'm sure you know from all those posts.
And recently, which I think is, I mean, not amazing that it's happened, amazing that it's coming forward, is a lot of men.
Yeah.
Because that's not something you hear about a lot, even though you don't hear about this. Like, people don't come forward about this stuff in general, but especially men. And it's way more common than people think. You're not going to like what I'm going to have to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't. Like, that's not, it's, even though you've been together for 6 years, know each other for 8, he doesn't owe you this. This is 100% his thing. And as much as you might think if you were in the same situation, you would want to talk about it with your partner, it has nothing to do with you. And it doesn't speak any testament towards how much he wants to share with you. And you might think that if you were in this position, you would want to talk about it with him and share it with him. And you might, if that was the case, but that doesn't mean that he has to. It doesn't mean that he doesn't trust you or love you or want to open up that part of his past to you. But it's just that's not, it's the fact that he's even come forward and even just said that needs to be enough. And it needs to be I'm sure you've already said this to him, but even if it comes up again, and just saying, or even if you want to bring it up and just be like, hey, I just want to let you know, if you ever want to talk about it, I'm totally here. I'm never going to pressure you to talk about it. We never have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I want you to know it doesn't have to be today. It can be years down the road, but just know I will always be here to listen if you ever want to talk about it. And you don't. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I just want you to know that you can always talk to me about that. And then fucking put on Jeopardy and move on from that.
100%. And also, I mean, because you have to really think about the reason that this whole Me Too thing is such a thing right now is because all of these people were too either embarrassed or ashamed, or they felt like it was their fault, or they just didn't feel like anyone would care, or that they got silenced by someone from an authority figure. But that there's so many reasons that people are finally coming out. And the fact that he was able to tell you is such a huge thing for him, obviously. If he's been dating you for 6 years, then that's you guys know probably everything about each other. And I'm sure that this was jarring to hear. But the fact that he even trusts you enough to tell you that it happened is a huge deal. And maybe in another 6 years, he'll be ready to tell you the rest. But that's definitely on his time, and he'll need to figure out when he's comfortable. And it could for him be that it's an embarrassing thing, and he doesn't want you to then think about that anytime. If it's something sexual, then whenever you're sexual, are you going to be thinking about that? He doesn't want to taint your perception of him.
Yeah. Or maybe he's dealt with this. Yeah. Maybe as a part of, he's moved past this and moved through this, and he doesn't want to relive it. And if it's something in his past where he's now surrounded by people who don't know that about him. And it's not something that he wants people to know about, not because this huge thing that comes up in general on this podcast with people talking about trying to get other people to talk to them about things, is they feel that they need that would help this they're afraid and worried and thinking that this person is battling all of this stuff and it would make it better if they just talk to you about it. And that's just not, it's with coming out, when people want their friends to come out to each other, or you want your brother to come out to you or anything like that. Despite the fact that you think that that's going to help, you don't get to make that call.
When you just have to remember that them not telling you is not them lying to you. It's not them doing anything in spite of you. It's something that they're coming to terms with.
And it's not them not dealing with it either. That's something that it's not something that you necessarily need to involve other people in. And I think it takes years for people to, come forward with that kind of stuff. And I don't think, it's just, it's also just opening a terrible wound and opening a terrible Pandora's box closet of something. And I think the best thing you can do as a partner is just to be there to listen when and if he wants to talk to you about it. But if you put this pressure on him, for him, it's why is this doesn't define me. This isn't
that's what I was
who I am.
It's something that's so personal to someone, but at the same time was completely out of their
control. It's a complete isolated incident.
So it's not like it characterizes them in any way, but it still is such a huge part of them that would be hard to share, because you don't feel like it's something that
it doesn't, if it doesn't affect, if he in his mind doesn't want to talk about it, like in the sense of, if you're worried it's like affecting your relationship, you didn't know. This isn't something that you're like, I feel like something's off and something's weird, and he wanted to like, that he's sitting down to talk to you about some sort of like anything like triggering or stuff like that. I don't think that's your place to kind of tell him how to handle that. That's kind of how I feel with everything. It's like when people go through personal issues, you can't really tell them how to handle it or what the right way to handle it is, because even if it's not how you would handle it, doesn't mean that it's the wrong way. There's no wrong way to deal with something. And I think, just like Lily said, like if it took 6 years or however long it happened for him to talk about this, if you're also the first person he
That's
told,
what I was just going to
dude,
say. Not that this is something that's like, I feel like the wording is going to be weird when I say it, but like you should be honored that he did
He
trust
trusts
you
you,
enough,
yeah.
and you were the one person he was able to tell, even if he's not going to go into detail.
That's
a
it.
big
That's what
step.
you've got. And
Yeah.
so feeling like you're like, we knew everything about each other and like he didn't tell me this. I'm like, now you're the only one who knows. And that's already hard enough, and that needs to be enough. That's more than enough in this situation. He doesn't owe it to you. And the fact that he told you this now, that needs to be totally it for you. But I think if you want to just, I think you've probably already told him, like, I'm always here to listen if you ever want to talk about it. I think if you didn't say that, you can say that and then just let him come to you if he wants to, because it's also something people don't really want to be reminded about.
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
not like,
No, I think what you said is perfect. Like a very quick moment where you're like, hey, I don't mean to bring this up again. I've been thinking about it a lot just because I am so hurt for you. And I just want you to know that I'm here if you ever want to talk about it. But I'm not pressuring you. I'm here if you ever want. to.
On whatever timetable that you want.
exactly. And on like whatever terms you want to talk, if you ever want to. And also just know, like, and even say, like, I'm never going to pressure you to talk about it. And I love you unconditionally. And that whatever happened or anything like that, it doesn't change us. And like, I just want you to know, I'm sure you already know how much I love you, but like, I love you. And if you ever want to talk about it, like, I'm here. And then just, I think leave it at that, because that shit's fucking,
Sending you both hugs.
Yeah, lots of hugs. Okay, on to the next call.
Hi, Megan. So, I'm called right, and I'm 22. I'm nearly 23 years old, and I'm from the UK, if you can't tell by my accent. And I've just started talking to this, well, not just started, I've been talking to him for like a month, like seriously, like talking a lot, not just on and off. And he recently told me, like yesterday, that actually he's trans, and I don't know how I feel about that and what to do about that. I don't know, like, where he is with his transition. He just kind of dropped a bombshell and went, oh yeah, by the way, I take testosterone. And I was like, okay, why? And he was like, oh, I'm trans. And I was like, okay, cool, like, whatever. But then I was thinking about it, and obviously, like, logistically, he's 29. So there's things like he's going in for a serious relationship and I'm 22, which, like, I don't get into things like heartedly, but still, he's going to be wanting kids, and then you have to think about all that. And does he want kids? Do I want kids? And, like, honestly, it's a lot. And I really liked him, and now I feel a bit like I've been catfished. And I know that's not right either, but kind of feels like it is. So if you could help, like, please do, because it's very struggling a lot, and I don't know what to do about it, because I don't want to be a dick. Like, I don't care that he's trans, that's fine, but do I want to get into that? I don't know.
Well, as you said, that is a lot.
Yeah.
To process.
Yeah.
Probably for both of you.
That's where I'm at. Like, God, I feel like I come at this being kind of an asshole all the time. But I'm literally only thinking about him in this situation, which sounds fucked up because you're the one who called. But
I just can't begin to imagine what it would be like to navigate that kind of situation.
I can't even like
from either perspective, honestly.
Yeah.
I think at the core of it, what's going to need to happen is you're going to have, and from my experience of any trans person that I have met, that they are usually very open to talking about what is going on with them, that I would have a very open conversation where you reveal your quote unquote concerns or just like thoughts about it. and let them let you know where they're at in their journey / life and what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's my question is was the age a concern before? Because when you're mentioning like, oh, well, he's 29 and wants to have kids and so all that stuff, but you've been talking to him for a month regardless. So is the age the issue? Like, I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but I'm like, if the age was an issue, wouldn't that have already been an issue?
It shouldn't change now.
Yeah. Why does the age matter now? That's what I'm wondering.
I think also what she said about like not trying to sound like a dick, but saying that she felt like she was catfished. I understand that because you think one thing that you're talking to one person and something that is a big thing about someone's life that you would learn. And it sounds like she feels like she should have been told earlier. But from his perspective, like when is the right time to tell someone? And how do you do it?
Also,
how do you know if they're going to be okay with it?
And I mean, like in my wishful thinking world, I hope to God, like I hope fucking eventually we get to the point where like, if you identify as a different gender or no gender at all, the fact that you have to, if you've been born feeling like being described as feeling as like you're in the wrong body and you were born as like a female and you are know in your core that you're a male, spending the rest of your life saying, hey, I used to be this, have to like tell people that you're literally going back to like, do you know what I mean though? That's what
You're
I'm trying to say. It's
rehashing the same thing.
Yeah,
At
it's like
one
that's
point
what
in
you
their
don't.
life, do
You've
you not?
yeah, and like you've never like identified as that, but you have to come out to somebody and tell somebody this is what I used to be. This was the gender I was like born as that I've never identified with as, and I've never been that in my like ever. And now I've taken upon myself and been able to like go through a transition and feel comfortable in my skin now, but I'm going to have to like come out to you to this thing that I don't even identify with.
And it's so sad because I feel like they're constantly having to convince people something when they're finally at peace with themselves. So, but also it sounds like one of her concerns was she doesn't know how far along he is in becoming a man, which to some people might not matter at all. But if someone is like, wants dick, then that is it pre-surgery, post-surgery? But I have a question for you is that would that matter? Or is that kind of
is that a safety net kind of, is this going to be able to, and also I would say, I mean, if you've been talking to this guy for a month, I think that's a like, if anything, an early time period to tell somebody like that. So I think that's more like very impressive on his part. Because I mean, like I said, I wish people never even had to address that stuff. And if people want to like identify as something as being a part of their journey, they totally like that's up to them. But I don't think they should have to like anything like that. But I think that's already like if he just said like, oh yeah, I take testosterone. It's like, why? It's like, oh, because I'm going through a transition. Like that for me, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's just such a like own that kind of part of your life thing. But I mean, I think you're allowed to have questions.
Right. And he's
100%.
probably expecting the questions.
Exactly.
Which is why he said it.
Yeah.
Or like why he said that. And so
that's what I was saying is usually I would say they want to be able to explain it because they want to make the other person as comfortable as possible.
He's not he obviously
He's
isn't
not
hiding it from you.
Right. And he could have.
And a month long, I think that's being
okay. Well,
that
was all I was going to say about the month is that for me, I usually know right away whether I like someone.
Yeah.
And like, I'm either getting butterflies or I'm bored. So if you have been talking to this person for a month and you're really excited to talk to them every time, like, and you just haven't been intimate, so you didn't know that, and they did tell you, one, that is, they didn't have to.
Yeah.
And two, he like, I don't know.
That's what I mean.
Like, if you do like him, then I think you owe it to him and yourself to have an open conversation and explore what it could be.
Yeah, because I mean the same thing with the age thing. I'm like, all of these things that you're saying, like having like this stuff would have mattered week 3.
Yeah.
Like not like or week 2. It's been 4 weeks, whatever. But do you know what I mean? Like this stuff, like you would have it shouldn't be as much of a factor. But I think we're definitely in the age of a lot of new territory with this kind of stuff, which I think is amazing. But I think ask if he's open for you asking questions. And then I also think there's a lot of privacy when it comes to like whether it's like surgeries and all that kind of stuff. So I would say it's not an easy thing to I mean, it's not a physical thing or an emotional thing to like go through a transition. So I think treading lightly and being delicate around the situation and whatever he's comfortable sharing with you. And yeah, I mean, also
I hope we're not like just shitting on you and being
oh
like,
my
oh,
God,
you should do anything. Like,
story
not
of
at
my
all.
life
Like,
on this podcast.
I have not ever had this situation
Completely.
happen to me,
Yeah.
and I don't know how I'd react. And it would be a very
it's uncharted territory, something you've never dealt with before.
So totally understand why you are asking questions and like trying to get advice on it, because it is something that you're not used to.
Well, it's time for Producer's Corner. So we
hell
have
yeah.
a callback now from the girl that slept with all the brothers.
Lily, do you want me to give you a rundown of this episode, this call? Yes. Okay. So I'll still give you a little bit of a premise. So she had called on a different episode, and she had been dating this guy, and she got invited to, I want to say it was some family function, like reunion wedding or something like that. And she had never told this guy that previously in high school, she had dated his brother. And then to get revenge on his brother when they broke up,
Okay.
So
she was dating someone.
She was dating. They're like, imagine
her boyfriend's brother in high school.
She dated her boyfriend's brother in high school.
And the boyfriend had no idea.
Right.
And then to get revenge on that high school boyfriend.
Are they serious?
Yes.
Yes.
How did?
Hold on. We don't know. But here's the thing. So take him. Okay, you got this so far.
I'm caught up.
So now we're back in high school. We're still back in high school. Her
Back
and
to
that
dating the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first brother number one.
Yes.
So brother number one and her break up. She then hooks up with his twin.
So there's three brothers.
There's three brothers. Okay. So she hooked up. She dated one brother in high school.
Is dark.
Do you know? I fucking love her. Fucking respect. And so then she fucked these two guys, and then whatever, life goes on. She is now years later. She's dating.
This still part of a revenge plot, or this?
No, she's in love with him.
She's fully in love with him and dating this, like dating the third brother. He doesn't know, but they would all be at this family event, and she didn't know if she should tell him. But it's been they've been dating for like over.
This guy was like related to the twins.
Oh no, she knew. They'd been dating for like a decent. Like
a while.
This seems weird though. How did the twins not know?
That's what I said too. So let's listen.
I'm so fucking excited.
Didn't know. I mean,
I'm fucking stoked.
My name is. I am 22 years old, and these are the details from my breakup blowout with the twins, Steven and Brad, and my boyfriend Adam, or ex-boyfriend. So I was over at a family event. It was a family dinner. Lots of aunts and uncles were over as well. So it was this pretty big thing where Adam was introducing me to his family. I was getting to meet his mom one-on-one, his dad one-on-one, and lo and behold, his brothers, Steven and Brad, I've changed their names for obvious reasons, walk in the front door from their places downtown Toronto. And essentially, we all just stop in our tracks and we're just like, shit.
You knew
this is about to get real. And it did. So after dinner was very awkward, by the way. We just sat in silence, like kissing, and his brothers looked livid. Let me tell you, a fork and just shake me. Like, it was bad. But they didn't, thankfully, since I'm still here. But after dinner, it was when I decided that I should probably say something to Adam and the twins before the twins say something to Adam. And that was when all the adults were in the living room, just sitting around drinking, and
with his parents.
Some of the cousins had a lot of them had babies and things like that. And the brothers, Adam, Steven, and Brad, are the only ones that aren't married with children. So it made it easier for us to just hang around afterwards. I suggested we go into the basement and we all have a conversation.
All of you!
And introduce ourselves, because I didn't want Adam to catch on necessarily to what was happening.
Too late, dude!
But once we sat down, I basically stated, look, this is going to be really awkward, and you're probably going to fucking hate me after this, but I have not only gone on a date with each of your brothers, but I have slept with each of your brothers.
This is an episode of Maury / One Tree Hill.
I only slept with Steven once after our first date, and he ghosted me afterwards, but with Brad, I slept with him twice, and I stayed at his place downtown a few times. So I slept with him more than twice. Oh, that's awkward. Oh, that's real awkward. And Adam lost it. Completely lost it. I just remember never thinking somebody could ever get this angry. And I knew he wasn't a violent person. He wasn't going to hit me. I didn't feel like I was going to get attacked. But his brothers used the words sociopath.
What? No.
And then borderline psychotic as well, which was my absolute favorite because they're assholes for obvious reasons. And then from that point forward, I just remember Adam just going blank. Like, he just went white as a ghost. And he looked at me, looked at both of his brothers. And the question that literally just flew out of his mouth was, which one's better? No! And I was just like, you, of course. And he's like, no, out of the brothers. He's like, out of Brad and Steven. Oh my God. Which one of them is better? Oh my God! And it was very confrontational. It was just, I was just like, look, like, I'm not going to answer that question because neither of them can compare to you. Like, I was really trying to bring him up, make him feel like, oh, this girl loves me. But he was not having it. And then so I was starting to get angry. I was getting livid at this point. And I looked at him. I said, you really think I'm going to answer that question? And I sounded disgusted at this point. But then he made the comment. He said, well, I'm like, I just so frustrated. And I remember him looking at me and saying that he can never, ever look at me again without picturing me on top of his brother.
Ew, wait, that's ew.
And first of all, my first response is, you think I'd be on top? He didn't like that very much at all, actually. And then from that point forward, there was just a lot of arguing. Brad and Steven basically told me that I needed to get out of the house, and I agreed. So I picked up my purse, and his mom was just like, "Oh, why? Like, what was going on downstairs? Is everything okay? Why do you look like you've been crying?" And I was red and sobbing and angry, and I looked at her and I told her, "You have lovely sons," and I just walked straight out of the front door. And to this day, I've only spoken to Brad once, and he told me that I was psychotic and a sociopath, and that the next person I just need to get it with in the family is the dad, and I was disgusted with that. And I don't talk to Steven at all. He's blocked me on everything. Adam and I he just messaged me before I called, actually, and him and I are kind of on friendly terms, but not really, because it's just really awkward still, and that's the whole situation. Every day is a different day, and I have plenty of stories where that came from.
You've more?
My love life is a complete shit fest.
Oh my God.
All
I want
right.
to hear everything.
So I'm just going to leave on that note.
Oh my fucking God. That was
I'm so mad that I have to go back to work in a minute because I would love to say it and talk about this for hours.
She's my favorite person in the world.
When
she said, you think I'd be on top?
I could not.
She's bitch, I love you.
Oh my God. I hate confrontation so much that I can't even fathom being in that situation and still being able to be such a fucking
and also
savage.
smart.
Right.
Like that's like damn girl. Like you're like these comebacks, all of it. Like you have lovely sons. Like, ma'am, your life is scripted. Like you should be a writer and also give me the rights to your life to make a movie. That was amazing. Thank you so much. That is more than I could have ever asked for.
Oh, P.S. I feel like you should stop talking to him. I feel like there's no future
She's
with
done.
that.
And she's talking to the brothers too,
again.
but they're friendly. And she's talking to one of the twins too.
No, because Brad messenger and told her she was like a psycho. So
oh yeah,
like,
so
he just did a final note of saying that.
Her and Adam are kind of friendly. I'm like, Adam said he wasn't ever going to look at you.
She said they were like kind of friendly, but like whatever. She's over it. Like thing. Yeah, no, you sound like you like, ma'am.
Wow, that was amazing,
dude. Right? Like slow fucking clap. I would also.
This is like the most pathetic slow clap ever.
I have my arm brace on. I really want to. Like, can you? I want to go to coffee with you. I want to hear all about this. This is amazing. I fucking. Good God, I loved it. But you really also, let's follow up. You did not take any of my advice. None of my advice was taken. You
I
did.
can't believe you
did.
went and did.
She did that.
So after dinner, we said
that was the one thing I
What
said.
do you mean after?
I was like, do not walk into this place having not told Adam. Don't let Adam walk into it. And she's like, yeah, fuck that. Let's do it after
I just
dinner.
want to hear your reasoning. Like, did you think that they're like, oh, hopefully they forgot about me?
Yeah. Did she think she got like a Megan Rink's nose job? And it's like, maybe they won't recognize
Oh my God,
me.
I would have died if you would have showed up just in full disguise.
Oh, like Hocus Pocus, Sarah Jessica Parker.
They're like, it's Halloween, right?
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? Wow, I love that. That was amazing. Thank you for calling back. I would love to hear more.
Yeah, she said she has more stories.
I would love some more stories.
All of the stories.
Also, what's your name? Maybe we could have a segment, story time with blah blah blah. And you can tell us about.
Seriously,
you can tell us about like your latest dates.
Entertaining than ours.
Oh my God, yeah, because I don't go on dates anymore. But thank you so much. That's it. That's it for our show. Lily, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I've gone through so many emotional roller coasters while I'm here. I'm like sweating.
Oh, me always. Every time we record, I'm like, I'm in a full blown sweat.
Like tears, goosebumps, laughing, cry. Oh, it's great.
It was good. It was up and down. We had a whole arc. I loved it. Where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, at Lily_Marston on the social medias or on all of Clever's channels doing weird things.
Hell yeah. And I want to put Lily on my YouTube channel again soon, guys. So what should we do? If you guys want to leave us a review for the podcast on the Apple Podcast app.
Only good ones.
Only good ones. 5-star. We're Ubers here. We would love that. And if you want to leave a voicemail and call us in, maybe you've fucked some twins. We would love to hear about it. Obviously, we're very entertained. Leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. Again, 310-694-0976. And fuck yeah, that's memorized for at least the next 5 minutes.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, it took a while earlier. And if you're an international caller, you can send us a voice memo, just record it on your phone and email it to meganpodcast@gmail.com. We want to keep them clear and concise, unless you're the girl calling back who fucked the twins, in which case you can leave as many voicemails as you want. You're a fucking legend. Yeah, we really enjoy doing this. So would love to hear your feedback and all of that stuff. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, make your dog listen, send some cute pictures of that. I love dogs and people listening to my podcast. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Adios, fuckers. Is that going to catch on? That's my new sign off. I don't know if it's going to catch on.
Hangover, like, adios, motherfuckers.
Fuck, did I steal that?
Yeah, you did.
Damn it. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, produced and directed by Jack Ferry, associate producer Melissa DeMons, edited by Melissa DeMons, post-production sound by Chris Henry, and music by Giacomo Picasso and Ryan Hunter. I will see you guys in 2 weeks, and don't blame me if your life bursts into flames before then.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that ShopPay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.
Do you love Disney? Do you love top 10 lists? Then you are going to love our hit podcast, Disney Countdown. I'm Megan, the Magical Millennial.
And I'm the Dapper Danielle.
On every episode of our fun and family-friendly show, we count down our top 10 lists of all things Disney. The parks, the movies, the music, the food, the lore. There is nothing we don't cover on our show.
We are famous for rabbit holes, Disney-themed games, and fun facts you didn't know you needed.
I had Danielle and Megan record some answers to seemingly meaningless questions. I asked Danielle what insect song is typically higher pitched in hotter temperatures and lower pitched in cooler temperatures.
You got this.
No, I didn't.
Don't believe that. About a wish coming true? Well, I didn't either. Of course, I'm just a
cicada. I'm crying. I'm so sorry, Jiminy.
You win that one.
So if you're looking for a healthy dose of Disney magic, check out Disney Countdown wherever you get your podcasts.